Everybody, welcome back with the Platypus. Platypus is the name, and today we are talking about Sepia Sumi, Semi-Sumi Sepia. So this is my favorite character in the game currently. I just think they're very fun to use. I like big numbers. I like damage over time. I like follow-up attacks. He does all of that. So we're going to quickly kind of go over his kit, how you would build him, what units you want to use with him. Here's one of the things is he combos with a ham sandwich, I believe is what you would use in Magic the Gathering terminology, or I'm sure that's just a phrase. But basically he works really good with almost every unit in the game. Not literally all the units, but a lot of them he works very, very good with. So very well with. So in case you don't know who Sumi is, you probably don't because no one uses him. This is a Persona user from the game Persona 5, The Phantom X. So life advice, man, what a great, also just a great vibe character. But basically, every time an ally deals an instance of damage, you gain a verse stack. When you get to 14 verse stacks, you activate a follow-up attack, and you deal damage to the last foe that Sumi is targeted, up to 130% of attack. So basically, after your allies deal 14 instances of damage, you will do a follow-up attack with 130% attack, right? Baseline. It gets quite a bit better as you go. It's called Sonnet of Fate. That is what the follow-up attack is called. So this just gets a lot. By the way, I'm about to be a fishing pond master. This just gets way more powerful as you go. Every awareness, right? After using a skill, increase the damage of the next Sonnet of Fate by 40%. So the first one he does every turn will be 40% stronger. And then increase the attack of Sonnet of Fate by 50% and inflict curse on foes hit. So now if you get this going off a lot, you could do a bunch of curse stacks. Then, you know, whatever, 3 and 5 or whatever. And then 4, increase the damage of Sonnet of Fate the next 4 times it goes off. So basically this is the next 2 times you do it. It gets 52% up to 2 times, but it actually goes up to 4 times. Not the most broken one, but it is still nice. And then at awareness 6. After using a skill, the Verse of Hate, Verse of Healing, or Verse of Passion gained activates 3 more times next turn. If 2 or more different types of verses are stacked, increase Sonnet of Fate damage by 67%. What does this mean? This basically means when you use a skill, nothing happens. All right, the same thing on the first turn of the combat, nothing changes. On the second turn forward, if you'd get 5 stacks from using one of your skills, you're going to get 8 stacks of it. So if it would give you, 4, you get 7, 5, you get 8. It just adds 3 to that. And then also the secondary effect, if you have more than one type of verse, then you're going to get 67% more damage on that. So when you start adding all this up, right, it's like 40% more damage, 50% more damage, 67% more damage. Combined with this skill here, we'll talk about in a second. It could be like, you could be hitting, obviously you're not hitting 300,000 and stuff, but like I've hit over 100,000 with the character before, right? But that's like when everything's lined up, but still, like, he has a lot of damage output, and it might sound like the Sonnet of Fate with 14 activations, it's not going to happen that much. You could have it happen 6 times in a turn, literally 6 times in a turn. That is with a very specific setup, but getting multiple activations per turn cycle is not absolutely impossible or crazy. As long as, because you're putting them in the team, you're going to want a team that synergizes with them, right? So let's actually talk about the skills here. Unexpected Tragedy. This is your first and probably weaker of, you're pretty much always using skill 3, but there are situations where you might want skill 1. You attack one foe for whatever, let's say 60% damage 3 times, so 180%. And you gain 3 verses of hates. The next time you do the next time you gain verse, 25% chance to change them to Verse of Hate. This is actually pretty decent because though you gaining verses, they don't inherently have an effect, but all 3 of these skills generate a special kind of verse that will have an additional effect. And this one is when you actually do your follow-up attack, for every Verse of Hate you have a 30% chance to apply curse for each. So if hypothetically, if all of your verses were the Verses of Hate, if you had all 14 of them when you did a follow-up attack, your character, Sumi, would attempt to 14 times put a curse stack at a 30% effective rate. You can boost your effect, your ailment accuracy. This does affect this 30%. I haven't seen the numbers that says that, but that's the vibe I get when I went, like, I added like 60%. It was happening over twice as frequently, where the actual stacks were just putting way more stacks on. So it seems to scale with ailment accuracy. So this is a good way to get a bunch of percentage-based damage on a character. Not as good as Anubis, as you'll see probably in the combat after this, but still, like, you could get a surprisingly large amount of curse stacks if you're using this. The only downside is that it does 3 hits instead of 5 hits. So you're giving yourself 2 less verse stacks total. However, the percent-based damage might make it worth it in certain situations where the higher the enemy's HP is, the more this becomes worth it. Absurd Comedy, this is the one you don't use. It's the worst in every regard. It is an AoE attack, but it has 3. It's the worst skill he has in every way. 1, it does 35% damage with 2 hits. The worst damage, the lowest amount of hits of all of his skills. Then you gain Verses of Healing, and the Verses of Healings does a shitty ass heal. It's bad. You're pretty much never going to use this. And outside of the situation where there's like 6 enemies or whatever, 3 enemies, they're all weak to curse, and you want to break all their shields, and you didn't bring Joker. Like, there's like a 1 in. You'll almost never use this under any situation. I think this skill is in the game because they wanted to have a skill in case someone doesn't have Joker, and you need to have 1 AoE curse for all the stuff that they put into the game. That's it. Like, honestly. The third skill, though, this is the one you're probably going to use most of the time against most enemies. Deal curse damage to 1 foe equal to 43% 5 times. I'm not even doing that math. That's like 200%. And then you gain 5 Verse of Passion stacks. The next time you gain Verse or gain, you have a 25% chance for them to be the Verse of Passion stack, so you can get more of these. But this doesn't have a percent chance. This is like some dumb healing. This is like a pretty cool like curse stacks, but as a percent chance. But this is guaranteed. When spending your Verse of Passion stacks to deal damage with your Sonnet of Fate, you deal bonus almighty damage equal to 7% of your attack for each Verse of Passion spent. So, I mean, listen, you guys, I know you guys may not be math whizzes like me, but if we do 7 times 14, that's 98% bonus attack as almighty damage. Almighty hits don't get that big. That's if you get all 14, right? But let's just say roughly it's going to be 7 times 7, that's 49, but let's click it in the calculator. So you're going to be getting upwards of a 50% of his attack is almighty damage, which is very good. Not to mention you're doing the actual attack of the Sonnet of Fate, and I'm sure all this damage multipliers will also count with this. So at the end of the day, he ends up doing a lot of damage. As far as the passives here, increase the damage of Sonnet of Fate with Curse by 50%, right? So if once they start getting Curse on them, you start dealing an insane more damage. For each Verse of Hate, Healing, or Verse of Passion stack spent, increase damage of Sonnet of Fate by 10%. Like, this is what I'm saying. This guy has, like, there's like 9 different places to read text, and all of them make Sonnet of Fate more powerful. All right, like let's click here. All right, first, if 2 or more, like, listen, right here, right, it does 130% of his attack when he does it. Then after using a skill, your next Sonnet of Fate does 40% more damage. Then if they have, you do 50% more damage to Sonnet of Fate. Then you make your next 4 Sonnet of Fates deal more damage. Then they do 67% more damage. Then they do 7% bonus attack per Verse of Passion spent. Then they also deal 50% more damage on foes with Curse. Then they also deal 10% for each verse of spent on the thing. And then they also get extra damage from this. Like, it's just every single stupid thing that he has makes the Sonnet of Fate more powerful. And it is actually very powerful. But how do you actually get these stacks? So there is a little bit of a weird thing about it where it's more powerful. His hits will be stronger if he does them less, because he'll have more stacks generated from this. Otherwise, if you hyper get these stacks going like really fast, he'll do a lot of follow-up attacks, but you're going to notice the damage is much lower. The damage will not necessarily overall over the course of the fight, but the hits will be like, instead of 40,000, 50,000, it'll be like 8,000, 9,000. Because if you generate 50 stacks on this guy, you're not getting, and then you attack, like only the first one every turn is going to be getting the, the awareness level 1. And then you're going to be mostly using base verse stacks that have no actual effect. So you're not going to have a lot of the bonus effects. So as you do a bunch of stacks, it actually, the damage kind of starts to scale back, but the curse doesn't. You can still do a bunch of curse stacks. So even though he does synergize with characters that hit a lot, you don't need to feel bad for running one character or something that only does like one hit, right? Like there are characters that just hit one time and that's fine. So I'll actually show him in a fight. Again, Genbu is not a good fight for him, but we're going to kind of show there. Oh, let's actually talk about how to build him. So there are two ways to build him, in my opinion. First and foremost, you just do you can use literally your Joker cards. Whatever you have on Joker is going to be good, right? Attack rate, crit rate, and attack rate. I would like attack multiplier, but I don't have that in the hinder, and I honestly don't want to spend one of my like premium currency to find one, and I don't want to farm it, right? So I think the attack multiplier would be better because he doesn't care about attack as much as he cares about the damage multiplier, I think, at the end of it. But still, regardless, this is fine. This is a very, very viable way to build him. Secondly, is you just get, you get the ailment accuracy stuff, which I don't actually have any of that right now. But, oh wait, ailment accuracy, I think, is the star. So you can run something like this, give him 30% ailment accuracy, then you go all in. Then you only thing you try to do is get as many stacks of curse as you can on the target by using your 3-hit thing, and then generate those verse stacks into more, and then suddenly you can get an insane amount of curse. Like, I don't know, I've had like 15-20 curse on characters before. In the fight you're going to see, I actually have quite a bit, but it's not mostly from Sumi. It's actually mostly from Anubis there. But that's going to be the two ways you're going to want to build them, right? Obviously, you're using Hindrance and Awareness, and then it's basically, do you want pure damage, or do you want to focus on actually doing the curse stacks? For his 5-star weapon, I actually think it's surprisingly, his 5-star weapon, it might be worse than his 4-star weapon. I don't know the math on it, but they work very differently. And I think it might be possible to deal more damage with a 4-star weapon than a 5-star weapon. However, I personally love the 5-star weapon, but if you don't have it, I actually don't think you need to feel bad because of how good the 4-star weapon is. So let's take a look at, let's take a look at the 5-star weapon really quick. What does it do? Because it is a very cool weapon, but then I'll tell you why I think the 4-star is actually good. So Babel's Verdict here. Increase attack by 30%. Increase damage of Sonnet of Fate by 33%, of course. After gaining any verse stack, so you just gain a verse whenever an ally attacks, 10% chance to gain a verse of Zenith, a brand new type of verse. This verse has all the effects of the hate, healing, and the passion. The thing is, like, this is good, but this is not that good. The passion is the best one. The hate, unless you're going all in on it, you don't care about that much. But it does give you a 10% chance to make your verse that does nothing into a good verse. But 10% is low, but you're going to gain a lot of these. So you'll end up getting, like, I don't know, like out of every 14, right? 1.4 of them will, on average, I guess, will be a Zenith. So on average, this will give you one additional hate, healing, and passion per follow-up attack, which is fine. And if you ever get this a 5-star, it goes up to 19%. Not insane, but it is. The attack 30% and the Sonnet of Fate 33% is probably irreplaceable. But if we take a look at his 4-star weapon here, it's down here. All right, we know where it's at. I haven't used it in a while. Here we go. Increase attack by 12%, the Scarlet Scepter. When gaining hate, healing, or passion, increase damage by 2% based on the number of current verses for one turn. The thing is, if you use someone like Soy, you can get 50 stacks on this guy. You can wait till he's at like 10 stacks, then you could use all of his gun, and then you'll get like 50 stacks. And then if he's coming up, you could time this in a way where if you get 2% damage based on the number of current verses for a turn, you might actually be able to get a higher ceiling on damage with this weapon, even though the overall damage turn to turn to turn is going to be lower, probably over the course of a fight for sure. But you might be able to hit actually harder and get more impressive numbers with the Scarlet Scepter, because you can get a lot of stacks, and he'll start spending them very rapidly. The second he hits 14, he'll do it he'll only do one at a time. This is something that is worth noting actually in combat. He only ever uses one follow-up attack at a time. If he has enough to do 4 follow-up attacks, he is not going to do 4 follow-up attacks. He is going to do 1 follow-up attack, but he will do it between every action. He'll do a follow-up attack, and then if the enemy attacks, like let's say Genbu attacks, then he'll do another follow-up action. Then it's Marion's turn, then he'll do another action. He'll do it between every single action that happens, even if it doesn't matter what happens. Even after a 1 more attack, if you do a 1 more, he'll interrupt it to do another one. So he'll keep doing it, but he'll never do a bunch of them at once. So, but he'll get a lot. So what are the characters you're going to want to run with him? So let me just go with the very, very obvious ones first. The characters that are going to be very obvious are going to be Windboy. Windboy feels like he was kind of built to go with him, although I think he's already outclassed. And I think he kind of sucks in general. But he has a skill. His skill 1 hits 4 times. If the fight's going a little bit long, like it's not 2 turns, it's like 10 turns, then that's when you start going to things like Saber Surge. Like, oh, but Saber Surge only hits 3 times. But when Right to Strike is 3 or higher, you get 1 more hit and you get more crit rate. And then if you're attacking Windswept foes with Saber Surge, you get 1 more hit. Then he has the other one here, his Last Awareness. He gets 1 more hit. So it actually goes up to 6 hits, which is pretty good, and that's pretty much the best you can get. But you're not doing that on round 1. You might be able to start doing that on round 2, and then you have no flexibility. This is a character that is obviously synergized with them, and if you're on a budget, that's the kind of one I would use. Another one that is very obvious, a lot of people I assume would know about by now, is Soy. Even though Soy has specifically 1 instance of damage, 1 instance of damage, no damage, 1 instance of damage, this is all true, but his gun has like 40 something bullets. And although you cannot currently reload your gun, but in a week we should be able to, this will allow you to get a crazy amount of stacks on him for a faster fight. You'll be able to just use your gun on the first turn, get all those stacks, and then you'll start applying curse. You know, it'll probably be like 5 hits, something like that, by the time you actually get through doing that. So those work very, very well. However, there's a lot of characters that work very well. You may not think of it inherently as Fox or Makoto, but these characters both work very, very well as well, because these attacks do 5 hits. All 5 of these hits, that means 5 stacks. And so Fox gets the 5 hits, Makoto gets the 5 hits. Even someone like I mean, obviously Cord works with everybody, but even if a character does, like if you hit a weakness and you do a 1 more attack, that 1 more attack also counts as a stack. And the initial attack does, like if you're fighting an ice character, or that's a character that's weak to ice, use Mont to attack. Mont hits them, you get the stack. Then they do their follow-up attack, you get a stack. And then you do a 1 more attack, you get a stack. It's every instance of damage, which is very, very good. So even Makoto, right? I mean, I'm not saying anyone's using, not Makoto, Mohota, but this hits 4 times. So, I mean, it's like almost hard to find a character that doesn't work super well with them. I think you could justify most characters, but like there are ones like in the fight you're gonna see Yuki, right? Yuki is not inherently synergistic with him at all, but because we're getting a lot of 1 more hits, and Yuki's just, I think, a good character in general. Like he works with Yuki, but I wouldn't say that's an inherent synergy. Yui, every one of those follow-up attacks, boom, you're getting another stack. Probably Ryuji is the single most unsynergistic because he doesn't even attack every turn. He attacks every other turn. So that's pretty unsynergistic. And then Leon isn't super synergistic. Obviously, as a buffer, you can overcome that, but you want people that are attacking, but I think Leon is just a strong enough buffer where the damage is probably made up for it. Also, lots of personas. Lots of personas are very good. And in fact, if we take a look at our newest persona here, let's go to Fusion Training, Persona Training. Our new boy here, where's he at? Yoshitsune. So he has the new skill, and it's 8 hits. It's an AoE, it's 8 hits. It also does good damage, but primarily you could use this to just supercharge Sumi. So these are the kind of characters you want to be using. Instances of damage is a pretty easy thing to fit. And then again, it just like all of these multipliers add up, and he just does really good assassin damage. Now, is he as strong as Makoto? Look, just let me have this, okay? No, of course he's not as strong as Makoto. Like, he's not gonna blow up. He's not gonna do the 5-star persona, literally some of people's favorite characters in the actual main Persona game. He's like an original character in this game. But I'm telling you, he is probably, like, if you take out Makoto, he's probably on Ryuji's level, is what I would say, on overall damage output. Because Ryuji, you kind of have to account that he doesn't, like, really do his thing all the time, I feel like. And he plays a little more risky. But so I think he's on, like, Ryuji's level of damage output and far above. Like, he's way above Mon. Let's just take a look specifically at the assassins in the game, right? So, I mean, well above Mont, well above Windboy. I think he's probably, it depends, Yui on the right team could be pretty strong, but I actually think he could do more than her, especially with the curse stacks. But I mean, he's one of the best assassins in the game. I would put him at number 2 myself. Maybe Ryuji's number 2 as well, but you know, obviously mine's super built, so I'm a little biased. Who knows? If I put that much effort into Ryuji, maybe it would be not even close. I'm just joking. I think Sumi is really good, but yeah. Absolutely super cool. I'm going to show you him in the Genbu fight. Not the best fight for him, but it is still a fun fight. And I figured, heck, you know what? Maybe I'll do another one of these as they release more stuff with his Mindscape and stuff. As you can see here, I am just waiting for it to unlock. Anyway, much love. Enjoy the fight. All right, so this is the team I'm going to use. Honestly, it's the same team I use for Genbu 5, except instead of Joker, I'm using Sumi, because this is not a fight that he's particularly good in, right? There's literally 5 targets and he hits 1 target at a time, and the fight doesn't end when you kill the main. So it's like, this is not his fight that he's good at, but we're gonna bring him anyway because that's what we're here to do. We're here to have fun. All right, let us go ahead. We're gonna open with the Sumi shuffle here. That's what we call it. Right, 3 hits, 10,000. It's not the most broken highlight, but it is still good. It's going to make his next hits do more damage. I do want a Nature's Light, but we have to... I think if we want the most damage, we're going to need to Nature's Light one of these things over here. Which might sound weird, but now we get to bring in Wonder. We could also knock down another one of these if we want. I mean, I guess we should, because this is each of these gives Sumi another stack, right? So we should do that. We should also do this, and then we'll use Wonder to attack the middle, which is good. I mean, this is basically exactly what we want, right? And apparently it's increasing Sumi's damage. I don't even know why. Sometimes there's so many different pop-ups of different buffs and stuff. I don't even know what's going on. Maybe it's because he's getting all these stacks. Now you are going to use Absolute Judgment. This is just here to help keep us alive. Boom. And then we're gonna just follow up with this point with Wonder, because again, Wonder's gonna do 2 curse stacks with the Anubis, So they're at 4, and now we are going to go ahead and just go for damage here. This gets us up to 14, so you will do your first follow up, which should be a pretty good hit, honestly. 17,000, not crazy, but it is one on the very first turn of combat, which is not super common with this team. Let's go ahead and just do more curse stacks on him. This will get him up to 7. It's not guaranteed 7, but yeah. So now all we have to do is we have to live here. Living here is definitely a part of the plan. And in fact, we might even lose this fight because I think I'm just trying to focus on killing Genbu before he eats his boys. But if we do that, we might be in a, you know what? Who cares? We're here to play big, okay? You know what? I'm just gonna. You're right. I'm gonna use her ultimate. You're absolutely right. I really didn't want to, but I think we should. So let's go and smack him down. Bada bing. We even got the kill. I mean, that's a nice little heal there. And then we should do what we need to do here. Marion hits so hard too. This will keep getting him more stacks. 3. I mean, this is only a semi Sumi showcase, right? And then we will keep doing this here, and we're gonna use Pazuzu this turn. Of course, like if we had a better fight, like you bring Soy is really good. You bring that new 8-hit persona, which I do have, but I don't even know if we need to heal. I don't think we do. I think we just do the curse. Get that on him. Get a little bit of damage. That damn damage. 9, 10, 11. We will have you attack this. Give us all that damage, bro. And then... yeah, the same thing. I mean, this might be an Anubis showcase, honestly. But, you know, Sumi's here. He's doing his job, all right? He's doing his job. He's standing there. He's looking cool. Let's go ahead and use this here. This will get him up to 14 stacks, but not until after the turn is over. So he will activate it, but not quite, you'll see, because he's 13. He's going to go up to 16. So it is a little bit awkward. We should use this. Hopefully this doesn't kill. It didn't. It did. Did it? Is that guy dead or not? Well, he is dead. He just didn't disappear. Okay, I don't know. That's a little weird. But because the fight's basically over, what we can do now is we can actually pull out the guns, right? Because we got 9. And each of these will add to Sumi's stacks. And then, no, don't do it like that. Don't do it like that. But yeah. Look at all these bullets, bro. Look at all these bullets. You look at all those unbelievable misses. I'll admit, he did kind of... why is he still crouching? You know what? Let's do the all-out attack. Oh, he can't. I was hoping we'd get the Sumi outro, but he was knocked down. That's why he was crouching. All right, so yeah, was that the absolute goated Sumi combo? No, but this is a really hard fight in the game, and it's a fight that he is particularly not good in as a 5-person fight where you need to kill a lot of adds, but he will help you deal a lot of single target damage, so definitely one of my favorite characters. But yeah, this is the second part of the video that I'm recording before the first part, so hopefully I told you about the party members you want. But yes, guys, that is all. Much love for Platypus per Platypus. I'll see you in the flip-flops. Bye! On the rise, watch the news go.